Wednesday, April 18. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. UK Prime Minister Theresa May on Tuesday personally apologized to Caribbean leaders after her government threatened to deport people who immigrated to Britain in the 1950s and 60s.
And I want to dispel any impression that my government is in some sense clamping down on Commonwealth citizens, particularly those in the Caribbean who built a life here. I take this issue very seriously. The Home Secretary apologised to the House of Commons yesterday for any anxiety caused, and I want to apologise to you today because we are genuinely sorry that has been caused.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who earlier had a bilateral meeting with me, said he wants a speedy response and was pleased with the UK Prime Minister's apology.
We had a very good meeting, straightforward, candid discussion. I sense that there is a genuine recognition that a wrong happened, unintentional view. We accept the Prime Minister's and I believe that the right thing is being done at this time.
At a meeting on Downing Street, May told representatives of the 12 Caribbean members of the Commonwealth that she took the treatment of the so-called Windrush generation very seriously.
The overwhelming majority of the Windrush generation do have the documents that they need, but we're working hard to help those who do not. And we've put in place a number of measures to deal with that, which the Home Secretary announced yesterday. She's going to set up a new dedicated team, a helpline, to help people evidence their right to be in this country and access services. It will be, the job of this team will be to help these applicants demonstrate that they're entitled to live in the UK, and it will be targeted cases within 2 weeks.
The government has prompted anger in the Caribbean countries and at home for a clampdown on people who came to Britain between 1948, when the ship Windrush brought over the first group of West Indian immigrants, and the early 70s. They and their parents were invited to help rebuild Britain after World War II, and many of them illegally British, as they were born while their countries were still colonies. They were given indefinite leave to remain. But those who failed to get their papers in order are now being treated as illegal and at risk of deportation if they cannot provide evidence of every year they have been in Britain. The row has been hugely embarrassing for the government, coinciding with a meeting with the 53 Commonwealth heads of government in London this week. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has launched the process for the development of the National Spatial Plan. 7 technical papers are to be prepared to inform the further development of the plan. The plan should ensure the optimal use of the nation's land and marine resources while addressing issues regarding climate change. We have more in this report. The last spatial plan was done more than 20 years ago, and various governments over the years have been trying to complete a new one. Speaking at Jamaica House yesterday, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Mrs. Audrey Sewell, said this plan was initiated back in 2009 and has since then been absorbed into Vision 2030. She said the vision is dependent on the existence of an appropriate spatial framework.
The plan will therefore provide the strategic spatial framework to guide national development and investment decision-making. The project was established through grant agreement between the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, contributing $687,000 and Government of Jamaica funding $282,000 and scheduled to be implemented between November 2010 and May 2012. But here we are today. However, due to various constraints in terms of both the CDB and the GOJ funding, the government revamped its approach to the financing of this critical initiative with the aim of obtaining a workable output within the shortest possible time.
Since the project aims to strengthen the resilience of the country, issues surrounding the effects of climate change will have to be a part of its function.
Jamaica has experienced several storms and hurricanes in the past decade with severe flood damage, loss of lives, and destruction of goods and services to the amount of $129 billion US, according to the 2012 State of the Climate Report. It therefore makes very good sense for the preparation of this National Spatial Plan to be done within the context of climate change adaptation and mitigation.
Jamaica country representative for the Inter-American Development Bank, Mrs. Theresa Turner Jones, noted that the plan is more than just a special project, adding that the climate change aspect of spatial planning is of significant interest. Some doctors affected by the air quality issues at Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James are agitating for the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association to take legal action on their behalf. The issue was reportedly raised during a meeting of doctors last week in Montego Bay. The doctors suggested that the JMDA should engage a lawyer to pursue a class action suit on the basis that the government willfully withheld information which was vital to their health. However, JMDA President Dr. Elon Thompson told RGR News that no legal action is being contemplated at this time. The Jamaica Public Service has announced that as of April 30, it will be replacing its customer service offices in 3 parishes with mobile units in communities. JPS, in a release on Tuesday, said that this will result in the closure of the customer service offices in Lucy, Hanover, Falmouth, Trelawney, and Port Antonio in Portland. The release informed that to ensure seamless transition, JPS will have an established schedule of places and location for the mobile units, which will be advertised locally. The Light and Power Company also stated that it will be informing customers of the schedule via text messages and email. With this, customers are encouraged to share their current primary cell phone number and email address with the JPS. The Ministry of Transport and Mining, MTM, said it has taken proactive steps to limit the potential effects of the sanctions imposed by the United States government on 12 Russian companies, which include UC Rusal, the parent company of West Indies alumina company Windalco. The ministry said it will also be safeguarding the welfare of the approximately 1,200 workers at Windalco and ensure they are duly protected in any given circumstances. In this regard, the ministry said it has conducted a series of consultations to include UC Rusal, the Attorney General, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the U.S. Embassy, and the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. It will also be in consultation with the workers or their representatives. The Police Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch, CTOC, is creating a checklist to help school officials identify students with deviant behavior traits. The checklist, which will be developed over the next few weeks, forms part of a strategy being developed in partnership with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, aimed at deterring students from engaging in illicit activities, particularly gangs. Portfolio Minister Senator Ruel Reid said he fully endorses the move, noting that the ministry is looking forward to the partnership. In regional news, Venezuela's opposition-controlled National Assembly on Tuesday approved plans to prosecute President Nicolas Maduro for corruption in a non-binding yet symbolic vote by a legislature which is effectively powerless. During the session, lawmakers voted to impeach Maduro over his alleged involvement in the vast corruption scandal centering on the Brazilian construction giant Obscract that has engulfed much of Latin America. And we'll have more in this story as it develops. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the African, Caribbean and Pacific, the ACP group, must reposition itself as a modern, fit-for-purpose intergovernmental organization in a changing global environment. Addressing ambassadors at the 79 nations at a summit in Brussels Monday, Mr. Holness said Jamaica supports the process of reformation.
If the reform process is to be successful, it must be pursued in an atmosphere of transparency and trust, where both pragmatism and compromise can prevail, and where our collective efforts can give rise to an effectively reformed ACP group of which we can all be justly proud. Undoubtedly, a transformed ACP group will be better able to empower the more than 1 billion people that it represents across the region.
The first round of World Trade Organization session talks have begun in Barbados, ahead of the country seeking full membership next year. Barbados is to develop a new fiscal regime that makes the island less dependent on custom duties. Here's more in this report from ZNS Network News.
Stakeholders from various sectors of the country are having their say at consultation meetings as efforts continue for the Bahamas to become a member of the World Trade Organization in December of next year. Their input on what will encourage the growth and development of the economy will assist the Bahamas when it begins negotiations. Minister of Financial Services, Trade and Industry, the Honorable Brent Simonet, touted the benefits of membership in the WTO.
Successful participation in the WTO will accelerate growth and development of our economy through increased strategic, domestic and international capital formation, improve global competitiveness so we apply ourselves to global standards of trade and pursue partnerships that will increase work and investment, provide better trade opportunities by seizing the protections and the safeguards and rules of the rules-based system. And we believe also that by improving Bahamian products and services access to global markets through competitive, progressive bilateral agreements.
Now, there are expected to be some challenges once the Bahamas ascends to the WTO, and that includes the creation of a new financial regime.
Some countries have higher VAT ratios than we do, so that we'll have to look at the whole question. If we're not allowed to do customs duties, what will replace it? And that is probably one of the better regimes. Out of this session this morning, that one of the biggest concerns they will have is the cost of electricity. That'll be the cost of doing business. That's going to be an issue the government's going to have to look at.
The Financial Services Minister also addressed a number of ongoing concerns surrounding the country's membership in WTO.
This will not include a free move of labor, in which people from anywhere in the world will have unfettered access to the Bahamas. It will not allow unfettered access of companies like to the Bahamas. The Bahamas will ultimately maintain its ability to determine its economic and monetary policy.
In sports, we look at cricket as the West Indies will send a full-strength team against a rest of the world 11 in a T20 hurricane relief charity match slated for next month. Here's more in this report.
Captain Carlos Brathwaite, along with the likes of superstar Chris Gayle, Andre Russell and Evan Lewis, were on Tuesday named in a 13-man squad for the May 31 contest at historic Lords. The high-profile quartet missed the 3-match series in Pakistan earlier this month, with selectors forced to send a depleted unit. Still missing, however, are the Trinidadian of Sunil Narayan and Kieran Pollard, campaigning in the Indian Premier League. Both pulled out of the New Zealand series last December, citing personal reasons, and also did not tour Pakistan recently. Veteran Marlon Samuels, the only senior player on tour of Pakistan, is again retained in the squad. Fast bowler Odin Smith, who made his debut in the recent series, has kept his place despite a couple of other. But Jason Mohammed, who led the squad in Karachi in Brathwaite's absence, has been dropped, along with Andre McCarthy, Chadwick Walton and Veerasamy Permaul.
And that's the news. Do stay with us. The weather report is next. This is PBCJ's weather report. Thanks so much for staying with us. Let's start with our local currents. In Kingston this afternoon, we can expect temperatures between 24 to 29 degrees Celsius, and we can also expect sunny skies going into the evening as the sun sets at 6:33 p.m. Over there in Montego Bay, St. James, we can expect scattered showers today with warm temperatures, though, between 23 and 28 degrees Celsius. And with the rainfall, we're expecting cool conditions in the evening, with some areas registering 7 degrees Celsius as the sun sets at 6:33 p.m. Let's take a look at what should be happening across the islands today. We're expecting temperatures between 28 and 32 degrees Celsius with the warmest temperature forecast for Black River St. Elizabeth. We're also expecting rainfall in the hilly inland areas of the island. And tonight we can expect warm temperatures and a bit cool as well in certain areas. The temperatures between 21 and 25 degrees Celsius. We can also expect some cloudy conditions in the central and western end of the island. We could be getting some scattered showers over there in Negril. We're seeing showers forecast for Ocho Rios and Port Antonio, as well as over there in St. Thomas as well. In our forecast for tomorrow, though, we're expecting temperatures between 28 and 32 degrees Celsius across the island. We could be getting some rainfall in Ocho Rios over there in Port Antonio as well. Cloudy conditions and possible showers forecast for St. Thomas. And in our Caribbean forecast for tomorrow, temperatures between 28 and 32 degrees Celsius. We're also expecting some cloudy conditions as well in the eastern end of the Caribbean. Sunny skies forecast for Nassau, Bahamas. We could be getting some showers over there in Santo Domingo. And we're seeing possible showers forecast for over there in Campeche, Mexico as well. In our travel forecast, we're looking at the United States. Tomorrow we can expect a minimum temperature of 7 degrees Celsius for those areas on your screen, and as high as 30 degrees Celsius, the highest temperature forecast for Miami. We're looking at Los Angeles, Miami, New York, and Atlanta. We could be getting some rainfall for New York and Atlanta. Cloudy conditions expected in certain areas for Miami and Atlanta. And that's it for the weather report. Thanks so much for making it PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.